Hello and welcome to my ongoing series, Roblox Myths Explained. In this series, I talk about various different Roblox myths and everything you need to know about them. In today's episode, I'll be talking about the Cult family and everything you need to know about them. You guys voted for me to remake the original video on this myth, so I decided to do it. As always, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe to the channel so that I know Twitter is very toxic. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The Cult family is a Roblox myth that is best known for its long history on the platform and extensive number of members. The myth itself has been on the platform since mid-2012, which means that it is one of the first family myths to exist on Roblox. The Cult family also has a moderate religious influence since they are part of an unknown branch of Christianity. This wasn't a part of their lore, however, until the Reformations, which I will get into later. The Cult family has also been covered by various different Roblox YouTubers and has been recognized by the community. I'll get into this and more later on in the video. The history of the Cult family can be traced all the way back to June 29, 2012, so over 9 years ago as of this video being published. This marks the date that the first member, Smith Cult, would create their Roblox account. Therefore, Smith Cult is the first member of the Cult family to ever exist. The following day, June 30th, 2012, two accounts will be created, Martha Cult and Brandon Cult. This would make them the second and third members of the Cult family respectively. That same day, Smith Cult will make several posts on the Roblox forums which contained links to decals that were images of him and his family. That's what he claimed, because it turned out that there was no one but him in the photos. Understandably, the photos quickly grew infamous and many theories were made, most of which stated that Smith Cult had murdered his entire family. In the following month, 3 more members would join the myth, those being Don Cult, Grandpa Cult, and David Cult. They would all join in July of 2012. Later that month, Brandon Cult would post on the forum saying that he hated his father and that he was a mentally insane man who is very dangerous. Martha Cult would create her only forum post which stated that she wanted to divorce her husband, who is Smith Cult. The enigma that is the Cult family began to grow popular with Roblox myth hunters as theories about them and their origins spread like the California wildfires. In the following months, member David Cult would go on the forums and say that the entire Cult family had died, speculating that Smith Cult had killed his wife, Martha Cult, for wanting to divorce him, and Brandon Cult having died of unknown causes. Despite this, they were all active on the Roblox forums for the next few years. In the following years, the Cult family would continue to grow with members such as Arthur Cult and Martin Cult joining the myth. Sometime in 2013, Martin Cult ended up summoning the entity known as Akamana, who is a demon. They are still associated with the Cult family to this day, just so you know. Not a lot would follow apart from 2 important events. The Smith Cult account will be terminated in 2014, likely for making forum posts that bypassed the Roblox filter. As a result of this, he would go on to create the Smith Cult Spirit account. Fast forward to 2015 and Brandon Cult's account would end up being terminated for reasons that are unknown. This would lead to him moving to the Brandon Occult account. From this point forward, we are going to be diving into events known as reformations, which are just different changes that were made to the Cult family myth. To make this easier, we will be discussing the reformations in their own section in this video. As of September 2021, there have been 5 reformations in the Cult family's history. The first reformation, which took place from 2015 until mid-2018, included the family having a short-lived association with Dr. Mack in 2015 and several new members joining the myth. The members in question are Morris Cult, Emmett Cult, Bobby Cult, and Jack Cult. In the beginning, this was seen by the community as the beginning of the downfall of the Cult family. However, in August of 2018, Roblox YouTuber Flamingo created a series of videos relating to the Cult family and their myth. This led to the Cult family experiencing a huge boom of popularity and becoming the 5th largest myth at one point. It was also around this time that Emmett Cult made an attempt to marry former Roblox myth Dr. Forrest, but was unsuccessful. This led to the members of the Cult family having an argument on Discord, which in turn led to the wedding being cancelled soon after. The second reformation, which took place from early to mid-2019, included the Cult family manor shutting down and some new lore being revealed. Regarding the lore, it was revealed that the Cult family was based in South Carolina but were forced to move to Louisiana for unknown reasons. They moved to Bayou and were taken in by new members Merrill Cult, Walden Cult, and Akram Cult. In 2019, the myth's lore took another change as Emmett Cult ended up passing away. For a period of time, Emmett's avatar contained a bloody slash in the middle of his torso. However, this is no longer the case as will be discussed later. His manor was also burned down in a public server, which played a role in the myth's lore. The Third Reformation took place on November 18, 2019 and included the addition of members Jimmy Colt, Nick Colt, and Jason Colt. Following this, the Fourth Reformation took place sometime later and included the addition of member Will Colt. Compared to the first two, not a lot happened in both Reformations 3 and 4. After all, they weren't major updates to the Colt family myth. The Fifth Reformation, which took place after the Casdam drama in August of 2020, included the removal of Martin Colt from the Colt family myth and a new group being made. The removal of Martin Colt led to David Colt being the new father of the Colt family, which makes him a replacement in a way. This Reformation also led to the return of Emmett Colt, which means that he is no longer dead in the myth's lore. If anyone is curious about the new group, it is called Colt Family Rebirth and is where some of the remaining members of the Colt family currently reside. It currently has 7,000 members as of this video being recorded, which means that a lot of people have discovered the new group. The Sixth Reformation, which occurred on October 1st, 2021, included the return of Morse Colt and the shutdown of the Colt Family Manor game. This was replaced by a game called Sanctuary, which can be found in the Colt Family Rebirth group. It doesn't contain a lot of things though, so I won't be talking about it in this video. This was a last minute addition that I felt was important to include. Those are all of the reformations that have happened to date, but more may happen in the future. Only time will tell. Since there are lots of members of the Colt family, I will only be going over the members that are in the Colt Family Rebirth group. This is to make sure this section doesn't get too long and take up a lot of time. Anyways, regarding David Colt's appearance, his avatar currently consists of a light yellow skin tone along with the Roman gladiator helmet hat, the politician hair, the nerd glasses face accessory, the lazy eye face, the David Colt shirt, the David Colt pants, and the belt black pants. In my opinion, his avatar gives me medieval guard vibes because of the color scheme in the clothing and the helmet. After all, the hat is named the Roman gladiator helmet, so it does have to do with being a guard. Also, the nerd glasses and the lazy eye face give David a pretty funny facial expression even though you can't physically see it. Overall, I give his avatar an 8 out of 10 since I think it looks pretty nice and funny at the same time. Moving on to Jimmy Colt's appearance, his avatar currently consists of an all-peach skin tone along with the Andrew's Beard UGC face accessory, the Imperial Beard UGC face accessory, the Mud and Chops UGC face accessory, the Sky Guy face, the Blade of Grass UGC face accessory, the stylish hair, the Jimmy Colt shirt, and the Jimmy Colt pants. In my opinion, his avatar looks pretty masculine since he has a very bushy beard, which explains the use of 3 different beard-themed face accessories. The clothes and shaggy hair also give it a manly kind of appearance, which fits quite well with the other accessories he wears. There's also an element of realism to his avatar, which I really like. Overall, I give Jimmy Colt's avatar a 9.5 out of 10 since it looks really good and works very well. Regarding the appearance of Joshua Colt, his avatar currently consists of a pale skin tone along with the dark camo paintball mask face accessory, the Roblo hunk hair, the tired face, the Joshua Plus shirt, and the Joshua Minus pants. In my opinion, this avatar reminds me of SWAT guards since they tend to have the same aesthetic and vibe as Joshua Colt's avatar. The darker color schemes also make his character seem more mysterious and strange, which makes sense as he is one of the lesser known members of the myth. Overall, I give Joshua Colt's avatar a 7 out of 10 since it isn't the best but clearly has effort put into it. As for Jason Colt's appearance, his avatar currently consists of a yellowish skin tone along with the blonde messy middle part UGC hair accessory, the Western Wheat UGC face accessory, the Peace Pin UGC front accessory, the Blonde Stubble UGC face accessory, the Visionaries Aviators UGC face accessory, the Gold Cross Necklace 1.0 UGC neck accessory, the Awkward Eye Roll face, the Jason Colt shirt, the Jason Colt pants, and the Faithful t-shirt. In my opinion, his avatar looks pretty good as it is realistic and can portray a real person. Along with this, Jason Colt is portrayed as looking pretty masculine as shown by the beard, outfit, and general look. The necklace worn by him shows that he has a religious side to him, which makes sense since he's a part of the Colt family. Overall, I give Jason Colt's avatar an 8 out of 10 since it looks very good and has effort put into it. Regarding Jack Colt's appearance, his avatar currently consists of an all-peach skin tone along with the brown wavy messy hair, the mime face accessory, the Jack Colt shirt, and the Jack Colt pants. In my opinion, his avatar looks pretty good as it doesn't have too many items, which shows its simplicity. After all, you don't need a lot of items to look good. The avatar also looks like it could portray a real person, which gives it a sense of realism. Overall, I give Jack Colt's avatar a 9 out of 10 since it looks pretty clean and good at the same time. Moving on to Emmett Colt's appearance, his avatar currently consists of an all-white skin tone along with the gothic necklace UGC neck accessory, the Huh face, the brown hair, the Andrew's beard UGC face accessory, the Emmett Colt shirt, and the Emmett Colt pants. In my opinion, his avatar is pretty cool as it portrays Emmett as a blacksmith or a wielder. There aren't a lot of items on his avatar, but it's not necessary. Also, the fact that he wears black clothing makes him appear as more of a quiet and mysterious person, which is pretty cool in its own right. Overall, I give Emmett Colt's avatar a 7 out of 10 since it looks pretty good for the small amount of items that it has. As for Will Colt's appearance, his avatar currently consists of an all-black skin tone along with the owl mask face accessory, the crazy game dev hair, the 0.0 face, the Will Colt shirt, and the Will Colt pants. In my opinion, this avatar gives off sad and enigmatic vibes since there are a lot of dark colors found within the clothing and skin tone. Will's shirt has what looks to be bandages for sleeves, but I am not sure. One thing I do know is that his pants contains a knife on the side of it, which means that he is armed at all times. Overall, I give Will Colt's avatar an 8 out of 10 since it looks pretty nice and gives off a creepy vibe, which is something quite a few people would like. Finally, regarding Nick Colt's appearance, his avatar currently consists of a darker peach skin tone along with the black guitar gig bag 1.0 UGC back accessory, the brown fluffy mullet hair, the sick day face, the Nick Colt shirt, the Nick Colt pants, and the Roblox girl torso. In my opinion, this avatar looks pretty good since it gives off a casual vibe and is pretty simple. The guitar case implies that Nick likes to play guitar, which is a pretty cool hobby. Also, the shaggy hair fits pretty well with the rest of his character, at least in my opinion. Overall, I give Nick Colt's avatar a 9 out of 10 since I really like it and appreciate the vibe it gives off. I would have gone over the avatars of the rest of the Colt family members, but this section would get very long if I did. After all, not a lot of people will want to see a 1 hour long Roblox Myth video. Just like the previous sections, I'll only be going over the personalities of the family members in the Colt Family Rebirth group. This is to save time and not make this section too long, so let's get into it. Regarding David Colt's personality, he is described as being more formal and talkative than the other members of the Colt family. Surprisingly, he is also not viewed as highly by the rest of the family. In certain cases, he is outright ignored in family meetings/gatherings. This is pretty sad as he is the new leader of the Colt family. It'd make you think he gets more respect, but apparently that's not the case. As for Jimmy Colt's personality, he is known to be pretty chill and relaxed with basically anyone that he meets only getting mad when he is ignored or annoyed. He has a very big hate for the government, which means that one should not talk about that with him. One thing that most would not expect to hear is that Jimmy Colt really likes the environment and usually talks about it during sermons. However, this only happens when David needs to take a break for a few minutes. All that I'll say is that Jimmy Colt's personality differs pretty greatly from his appearance. Whether or not you agree is up to the viewer. Moving on to Joshua Colt's personality, he is typically described as being a friendly person that can turn irritable if one goes into his room without permission or brings up the Vietnam War. I wonder how he feels about the song Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Anyways, an example of Joshua getting irritated is when one disrespects him. If you do this, chances are he'll disrespect you back. I mean, this is a pretty understandable response to that. Regarding Jack Colt's personality, he is known to be like any regular child but works pretty well with Emmett Colt. Speaking of this, he obeys his elders and superiors in order to not face consequences. Basically, he isn't rebellious. However, this might all just be a mask to hide how he truly feels about his current situation. Some factors that might have led to his deteriorating mental state include trauma, constant fighting, and the disappearance of Emmett Colt. Some journal entries made by Jack Colt mentions him having trouble sleeping, which is probably between paranoia or PTSD caused by the previously mentioned manor burning down. So, we can say that Jack Colt has it pretty rough. Finally, in regards to Nick Colt's personality, he is described as being shy around most people and has symptoms of conditions such as anxiety. He is also known to be overprotective over fellow Colt family member Jack Colt. As seen on the Colt family Discord server, Nick Colt stutters over his words pretty frequently. His tone is also normally dull and anxious with the fact that he usually doesn't attempt to convey a more positive attitude. Despite this, Nick Colt can be pretty friendly sometimes. An example of this would be him giving the player a cup of coffee. Those are the personalities of several members of the Colt family. I could have talked about all of them, but this section would be very long if I did. This section is interesting in that there are a lot of games related to the Colt family across the majority of the members' accounts. Specifically, there are possibly over 27 games at a minimum throughout the entirety of the Colt family members. For this reason, I will only be going over the games that can be found in the original Cold Family group. So there are 2 games in the Cold Family group at the time of this video going up. In order, the games are The Cold Family Manor and The Shiloh Basket Ceremony. The most popular of the 2 is The Cold Family Manor, with over 545,000 page visits as of this video being published. This is due to the other game, The Shiloh Basket Ceremony, being paid access, which will lead to it having way less place visits. Anyways, The Cold Family Manor was made on March 23rd, 2019, and was last updated on September 16th, 2021, so less than a week prior to recording this. As to keep up with channel tradition, I'll talk about what can be found in-game, so let's talk about it. So, the game starts on a menu screen that displays a cross in the ground of a fog-filled swampy land. At the bottom of the menu is a button that displays the word Repent. Clicking/tapping on the button will cause the screen to go black and then show phrases such as Tuesday, 3:30 p.m., Bayou, Louisiana, and 1973. This confirms that the game takes place in the early 1970s, specifically 1973. This then cuts to a scene of the player being driven to a remote location, which doesn't last for too long. After this, the screen will go black and display the sentence, "Rumor has it there is a cult in this area. I've come to see if there's any truth to these rumors." This sets up the basic backstory for why the player is there in the first place. Following this, the scene will then transition to the actual game where the player spawns at the side of the road opposite of the car. One can't walk back to the car due to there being an invisible barrier on the road. Behind this is the swampy bayou that the Cold family is said to reside in. Right away, the player will run into a couple signs, with the top one saying New Orleans City Limits and the bottom sign reading Bayou Wilderness. If one hovers their mouse over the top sign, text will pop up and say, well, no turning back now. This feature will pop up several times in this game, so keep that in mind. Walking past this will reveal a huge bayou with quite a few things to discover. In order to save time, I'll be discussing the many discoveries that can be made in this environment. First thing that one can find via walking into a bayou is a pile of dirt on the ground with a shovel on top of it. Hovering a mouse over the said shovel will display the words, "What could be buried here?" This is a pretty good question as it makes the player think about what could have been buried. Anyways, one can walk around and find a pier that could be used to get onto boats in the water area. Of course it was abandoned, but it had a purpose at one point. On the same pier, one can find a fishing pole and hover their mouse over it to display text that says, "Someone's been fishing here." Anyways, if one goes to the top left of this area, they will run into an abandoned wagon with several hay barrels inside of it. Even though it may not seem like much, it does confirm that a group of people did some kind of farm work in the bayou. If one walks a small distance from this, they will run into an abandoned house that is rotting away by the second. You know a building is abandoned when parts of the building are gone and windows are broken. Speaking of which, hovering the mouse over the broken window will display text that reads, "Looks abandoned." In order to go inside the building, one will have to walk to the front and go through the doorless entrance. Some things that can be found inside of the abandoned house include a few chairs, a fireplace, several tables, a few candles, lots of junk and trash on the ground, bookshelves with books, and a bed that is pretty dirty. If one hovers their mouse over the top of the bed, text that reads, "They must have left in a hurry" will display. That phrase honestly makes sense when you consider the fact that quite a bit was left behind in the now abandoned house. One more thing of interest is a broken tree root that is inside of the house. This shows how much disrepair the house has fallen into. Anyway, one can walk around the area near the house and run into a bunker that is open. Hovering your mouse over the opening will display text that reads, "A cellar? This doesn't look friendly." This is pretty much clickbait as the cellar itself doesn't contain anything inside of it. You know how I say there's a lot of area to cover in this game? Well, it's true. The bayou inside the game is pretty big, just thought I should let you know. Anyways, another thing that the player can find is a pretty big cross that is partially sunken into the ground. What is interesting is that this is the same cross that is seen in the menu of the Cold Family Manor. It is unknown who is buried under here, let alone if someone is buried underneath the cross. Following this, one will have to walk very far from the main road to find a church that looks pretty new. Hovering your mouse over the church will display text that reads, "What happened here?" This is most likely referring to the empty state that the church is currently in. As for the inside, one can find a few things such as a few windows, some bookshelves, a few tables, lots of chairs, a pedestal, and a cross at the end of the wall. Speaking of this, the cross also has an opening that is sticking out. Hovering your mouse over the opening will display text that reads, "Maybe he wants an offering." This implies that the player must drop something into the opening and hope something will happen. Even though that might seem like all of the things that can be found in game, it's actually not. The player will have to walk to the far left corner of the map, and this will trigger a transition which consists of the screen zooming in and eventually going into first person. This is followed by the player looking to the right and then getting somewhat of a mini jump scare. After this, the player will get teleported to a game called The Cold Family Manor, before you say anything, this is a different game but with the same name as the first one. Here, the player will spawn at the end of a brick pathway that leads to a huge mansion. This is, in fact, the Colt family manor. As one might notice, a lot of trees surround the manor, which contains some hidden things that will be discussed later. The player is also able to equip a candle, which gives off a bit of light that can be used to see the area around you. Anyways, going into the actual mansion, one will enter the main dining room, which is very big and contains a few paintings, an open roof, a fireplace, and hallways that lead to the rest of the manor. One can sit on the chairs and have gatherings with friends, which is a pretty cool thing to do. Moving on, one can go to the hallway immediately to the left of the dining room and run into the kitchen. Obviously, this is where the food is made. It's pretty cool as there are lots of drinks such as Coca-Cola, water, and juice. Anyways, walking down the path and going to the first left will reveal a long hallway that leads to various different areas. The first area, which is on the right side, will show a huge room that contains lots of chairs and a pedestal at the end of the room along with a cross. This is, in fact, the mini church found inside the manor. Going back to the first hallway and walking to the end, the player will encounter a door that leads to a storage room that just contains lots of shelves and boxes. Therefore, there isn't much to this section of the mansion. The player can walk back to the main hallway of the building and they can continue to go down it. There are some stairs that lead to the second floor of the manor, which will be discussed later. Anyways, one can go to the other side of the hall and take the first left. Doing this will lead the player to another hallway inside of the manor, which also has an entrance to the mini church. When one reaches the end, they'll reach a door that cannot be opened. Therefore, we do not know what is inside of the room. The player can go back to the main hallway and they will end up running into a small room that contains a piano, a couple chairs, a table with flowers, and a drawing on the wall that shows the letters IC, XC, NIKA. It is unknown as to if this text has any significance, but if it does, let me know in the comments below. Also, the piano sadly cannot be played. We will be coming back to the final section of the first floor later, so just know that. The player can walk back to the big set of stairs that lead to the second floor and they will be able to find a lot. Right away, a small hallway will be reached, which the player has to go down. Once they reach the end, there are two ways that the player can go. Taking the first turn in either direction will lead to the family library, which contains a lot of books, a few chairs, a fireplace, and a rug. Phase rug specifically. It's pretty much your typical library inside of a manor, so there's not a lot I need to explain. Going back to the main hallway on the second floor, one can continue down the left path and they will run into a number of doors, most of which lead to different bedrooms. Two of the doors are boarded up however, so no one knows what is behind them. One of the other doors lead to the first bathroom on this floor, which is pretty dirty. I mean, look at the walls in the mirror. Anyways, at the end of the hallway is a door that leads to one of the aforementioned bedrooms. It's like your typical bedroom, so I won't talk about it. Since that is it for the left side of the second floor, we will now move on to the other side. The first door in the second hallway leads to Jack Colt's room, which contains a few things such as a table with several cool items, a painting, a bed, a cupboard, and some stuff on the floor. Moving down the hallway, one is able to enter the other bathroom on the second floor, which is in the same condition as the first bathroom. Anyway, there are more bedrooms down the hallway that one can access. One of the bedrooms is pretty different from the others since it contains some things of interest, which include two posters of different rock bands, a table with some bottles, and a TV in front of the bed. If anyone is curious, the two band posters are of Led Zeppelin and Creedence Clearwater Revival. There are more bedrooms down the hall that one can enter, with one of them having an item of importance. When one enters the bedroom in question, they'll see a regular room with a table containing a lava lamp and several sheets of paper. There is also a guitar on the edge of the bed that the player can hover their mouse over. This will display text that reads, "Strings are worn out, but the polish is still new." This implies that the guitar is in a somewhat used condition. In the same room, there is a table with a chair and a backpack on the floor next to it. Hovering the mouse over the backpack will display text that reads, "A photo of a family tucked away in the front pocket." Moving on, the next bedroom that one can enter has a single thing of interest, which is that there's a very dirty mirror. Hovering your mouse over the mirror will display text that reads, "The mirror is filthy, can barely see your reflection." If you didn't know just how dirty the mirror was, this piece of text should give you an idea. Anyways, there is one more thing inside the manor one can find. If the player goes down to the first floor and to the right of the small room with the piano, they will run into a huge opening that leads to what is probably a basement. The entrance is very dark, as in you cannot see what else is in the entrance. Going down the somewhat long set of stairs will lead to a basement with lots of pillars, wires, and a big door that cannot be opened. There is also a big painting of George Washington in the corner of the basement, albeit most of it being erased. There is also a rusted boiler in another corner of the basement, which is pretty cool. Apart from that, there is nothing else to see in the manor itself. For the final thing, the player will have to go outside and walk to the left side in front of the manor. Here they will find a mini campsite with a truck with loads of stuff inside, a bit of shelter, a campfire, a small satellite dish in front of the truck, and a pack of suitcases with a bazooka on top of it. Yeah, you heard that right, there's a bazooka in the area with the truck. Hovering your mouse over the bazooka will display text that reads, "Where the hell did they get a bazooka?" As for the truck itself, one can find several things such as a bed, lots of boxes, a lamp, loads of posters, a crate with a book on top of it, and writing on the walls. The writing on the walls are various different phrases that mean different things. Apart from that, there's not much else to see in game. In my opinion, the Colt Family Manor is a very interesting game that has quite a lot of discoveries hidden inside of it. The fact that the game starts out in a bayou and has no obvious teleporters may make some people think there isn't much to the game, but that's far from the case. When the player finds the secret area, they get teleported to the actual Colt Family Manor where they can explore what lies inside of it. I honestly really like how well built the manor is, since it looks like a lot of detail went into creating it. That alone makes it one of the best games that I've explored, at least from what I've seen so far. I also like the fact that there's a bazooka in the truck outside of the Colt Family Manor because of how random that is. Overall, the Colt Family Manor is a Roblox mid-game that is definitely worth checking out. However, keep in mind that it can cause lag on lower-ended devices, so keep this in mind when playing the game. As mentioned before, there are a lot of members of the Colt Family Myth. For this reason, I'll be breaking down a complete list of all of them to the best of my ability. One thing that needs to be emphasized is that just because a player has Colt in their username does not automatically mean they are a member. A prime example of this is the Roblox myth Blue Beetle Colt, who is not related to the Colt family in any way. Also, expect some members to appear in multiple categories in this section. So, let's get into it. The following list is of Colt family members that are either known or confirmed to be active. In order, the members are David Colt, Joshua Colt, Akamana, Jack Colt, Nick Colt, Jason Colt, Jimmy Colt, Will Colt, Emmett Colt, Arthur Colt aka Arthur Colt Spirit, and Meryl Colt. One thing I will say about Meryl Colt is that they returned to the Colt Family Myth on October 1st, 2021, as confirmed by a member of the Colt family on Twitter. So, we can say Meryl Colt has returned to being active on Roblox. Anyway, this next list is of members of the Colt family that are inactive, meaning they haven't logged into their accounts in a long time. In order, the members are Smith Colt, Martha Colt, Zach Colt, Grandpa Colt, Morse Colt, Lenz Colt, Akram Colt, John Colt, Don Colt, Walden Colt, Bobby Colt, and Arthur Colt. This next list is of members that are not confirmed to be a part of the Colt Family Myth. In this case, it means members with the word Colt in their name. In order, the members are Jimmy Colt aka Jimmy A. Colt, and Aaron Colt. As for the following list, it is of members that have either been removed from the Colt family or confirmed to be dead in the myth story. Specifically, all of the members in this list have either left the myth, retired, died in real life, or simply dead in the Colt family myth story. Don't ask me how some of the members died in real life because I do not know. To make it easier to understand, the state of each member will be shown to the right of their name. In order, the members are Smith Colt, Grandpa Colt, Martha Colt, Don Colt, Brandon Colt, Arthur Colt, Morse Colt, Bobby Colt, Walden Colt, Martin Colt, John Colt, and Eudora Colt. This final list is of myths that are not completely canon but have helped out the Colt family. Since it is very short, I'll just say who the associated myth is. Dr. Big Mac. Like all of the previously mentioned lists, the amount of members is subject to change in the future. Those are all of the lists regarding the Colt family, which hopefully makes it easier to understand the state of each member as of this video going up. Since we are talking about a family myth, there's a good number of trivia that could be mentioned. However, in order for this section to not get too long, I'll only be covering the most important pieces of trivia. As one might know, trivia is just extra facts that are relevant enough to make it onto the video, so let's get into it. The first piece of trivia is that despite popular belief, the only Colt family members that are confirmed to be blood related are as follows: Smith Colt, Martha Colt, Don Colt, Grandpa Colt, and Brandon Colt. There's even a family tree that proves this. It also explains how every other member of the myth is related to the Colt family. Knowing this, anyone that makes claims such as David being Smith's son or Martha being Bobby's aunt are false. The second piece of trivia is that as of 2021, none of the current members of the Colt family are related by blood. That being said though, both the original and current members are still a part of the myth. The third and final piece of trivia is that the icon for the Cult family was the former logo for the rock band, the Blue Oyster Cult. For those that don't know, Blue Oyster Cult is an American rock band that is best known for songs such as Don't Fear the Reaper, Burning for You, and Godzilla. They have sold over 25 million copies in total and have contributed to the rise of the music video and modern pop culture. Anyways, the Cult family used the former logo of the Blue Oyster Cult as their group icon for a while. That was until they moved to their new Roblox group. Nowadays, their new group uses a different logo while the old one uses the logo that is shared with the Blue Oyster Cult. I know this is an interesting amount of trivia, but I still decided to include it regardless. To wrap this all up, the Cult family is a Roblox family myth that is best known for being one of the first family myths to exist on Roblox, with its roots dating back to mid-2012. Therefore, this myth is not new at all. Religion plays an important role in their myth, which became apparent in their later years. As previously mentioned, the history of the Cult family dates all the way back to late June of 2012, with the creation of the first members account. More members would join the myth as time went on, with many different changes being made to the Cult family. A majority of the members have pretty good looking avatars, all of which have different styles unique to their characters. Each member's personality plays a role in the myth story to help make it more diverse and interesting to myth hunters. The Cult family has several games that tell the myth story, with their main game being really well made. As mentioned earlier, there are a lot of members in the Cult family myth, albeit all of them being in different states as of October 2021. Overall, the Cult family is a pioneer of the Roblox family myth and has paved the way for others like it. Had the Cult family not existed, a lot of family myths probably wouldn't exist today, but we'll never know. Despite the state that the myth was in following the Kazdam drama, they have managed to recover from it and move on. They have even made a good comeback to the myth community, which is a good sign. That being said, the Cult family will forever be an iconic Roblox myth, and that's everything.